Shook it up.
Hi, my name is Karina Munoz.
I'm Zoe Hildebrand. I'm Julia Lepe.
My name is Kat Winkleman.
My name is Sasha.
I am Taylor Dinwiddie.
My name's Cody Oswald.
I am a literature major.
I am a computer science game design major and a literature minor.
And I'm a literature major and East Asian studies minor.
I am a creative writing major with double major in Latin American and Latino studies.
And I'm a literature major, education minor.
I'm a literature major.
I am a third year in the literature department. My concentration is creative writing.
This quote is, "One of the truest tests of integrity is its blunt refusal to be compromised," by Chinua Achebe.
If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. Toni Morrison. A poet's work is to name the unnameable, to point at frauds, to take sides, start arguments, shape the world, and stop it going to sleep. By Salman Rushdie.
We will not go away with our issues of sexuality. We are coming home. It is not enough to tell us that one was a brilliant poet, scientist, educator, or rebel. Whom did he love? It makes a difference. I cannot become a whole man simply on what is fed to me, watered-down versions of Black life in America. I need the ass-splitting truth to be told, so I will have something pure to emulate, a reason to remain loyal.
You see what power is, holding someone else's fear in your hand and showing it to them. Amy Tan.
The quote is by James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced.
Cherry Moraga. The real power, as you and I well know, is collective. I can't afford to be afraid of you, nor you of me. If it takes head-on collisions, let's do it. This polite timidity is killing us.
I just like the message of not compromising when your integrity is in jeopardy.
This quote, I think, is really empowering because I think that everyone has a lot of things that they're afraid of.
We are often, as minorities, faced with very strenuous circumstances that feel unsurmountable at times.
Especially in a college setting, like stuff like this is really important because like you're meeting all these different kinds of people, and maybe certain aspects of your identity are being like questioned because you're being thrown together with all these people.
So even when we look towards like the department and how it is that we're going to create these intersections, how it is that we're going to have different voices coming in instead of having Shakespeare constantly, instead of having these white authors constantly.
Fucking Shakespeare.
We don't need to keep hearing the same voices that we've been hearing for hundreds of years.
Majority of the classes, like throughout the different canons or historical aspects or stuff like that, they are just like Eurocentric aspects.
Like, still mostly assigned white guys, I would say.
In pretty much all the literature classes I've taken, it's been strictly white people. White authors, white films.
Fall quarter of this year, I took Japanese literature, but the attitude throughout was very much that this is like an oddity.
And it's unfortunate because I have gotten to have tastes of these like profound POC LGBT authors, but it's always just a taste.
I remember that first day, she asked everyone why they were in that class, and lots of people were saying like, I feel like I want to support this type of class. I want to make sure these types of classes are like recognized and they keep happening.
And a lot of discussions that we don't get to have in classrooms, and I think we just don't have them enough.
It shouldn't be the case where we have to take elective classes in order to have like voices of folks of color, in order to have these different intersections. It should be mandatory to have these things.
I definitely think it's the responsibility of particular white professors to attempt to be inclusive and really get more diverse voices into classroom settings.
You can be a guide, you can force people to see, you can help wake people up.
Especially like in this campus specifically, because we have such a reputation of like being so progressive, and so I just feel like it would be really great if we had more material in the lit department that does like make those bold statements.
Any area where we can increase that visibility and hear those voices and hear the life experiences, I think it's part of like the responsibility of the university and our responsibility to demand that we are all exposed to different voices with different experiences.
The idea that just by ignoring like race or color or things like that will automatically make racism or anything of that nature, any kind of discrimination just go away is just completely incorrect.
I no longer spoke in any of my classes because like I was like, why am I going to put in all this effort when I'm not getting like any kind of reciprocation? Why is it that I, as a person of color, have to sit here and like educate these white folks that like refuse to take in the information and rather just ask more questions?
Even a vampire film class that I took, that was a literature class, of course, had us watch Birth of a Nation at the very beginning, which is a KKK glorifying film.
I don't feel comfortable in this class. I don't feel comfortable with the people who make up the majority of the people talking here. I don't feel comfortable that every time I speak, I have to explain myself.
There's such a diverse community in the literature department, and if we're all just learning about the same bullshit and being told that like, well, these are foundational works, then like how can we reinvent a foundation for ourselves?
I'm just really grateful to see those kinds of diverse voices that are being talked about. It allows for perspectives to be widened, for viewpoints to change, even when it brings up uncomfortable conversations. Like that's how we grow. Like nothing can be changed until it is faced, as James Baldwin has said.
This like homogeneity and like this like, oh, well, of course you're gonna read like Shakespeare, and of course you're gonna read like all these, you know, towers of literature and Western thought, and I'm like so bored by that. And for me, I'm just like, why is it assumed that I'm gonna read that instead of Amy Tan or Audre Lorde?
This is what I need to challenge my thinking. This is what I need to challenge other people's thinking. I think that's where a lot of it starts, especially in this department. It's bringing in these voices and having them feel like they're represented in whatever it is that's going on.
We need to re-examine our canons and our classics and the way that we divide up literature to reflect where we want to go as a society and not just where we think we've been.
We have to keep trying. We have to try to keep more inclusive voices going, and really help people feel seen.
I hear in my mind all of these voices.